Welcome to the Startup Competitors Podcast, where we talk with early-stage entrepreneurs to understand what information they use to inform product roadmap, strategy, and market differentiation.
Welcome to the podcast. Today we have Jennifer Williams with Cuddle Clones. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's hear the Cuddle Clones pitch. What do you guys do?
Right. So a Cuddle clone is a custom plush replica that looks just like your pet. That's our flagship product, but we also have many, many other custom products that are of your pet. So let's say earrings, Christmas ornaments, a pillow with your pet on it, and other such custom products that celebrate the love that people have for their pets.
Awesome. And do you sell that only through your own e-commerce, or do you also sell that through other channel partners?
All the orders come through our e-commerce website, cuddleclones.com. We do have some kind of secondary markets like Etsy, but they end up having to come back to our site anyway because we need to get their pictures and all of their order choices. And then we do have an affiliate program where different retail establishments can have a display and they can sell a gift card or just refer their customers to our site and get a kickback.
Got it. Current status of the business, any sort of vanity metrics you're willing to share?
Sure. We are about 5.5 years old. We've been growing each year. In 2018, we'll be a little over $3 million in revenue.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we're getting there and growing because I think last year it was 2.3. So yeah, we had a decent year this year, including our 2 highest days on record, our normal Christmas cutoff deadline. So, get your Cuddle Clone by Christmas, and then our Cyber Monday sale as well. So those people won't get it by Christmas, but they got a really good deal. So we've got 13 employees here in Louisville, Kentucky, and we've got 32 employees in our wholly foreign-owned workshop in China.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you any idea how many Cuddle Clones you've shipped?
Man, I want to say it's probably approaching 50,000 over the 5 years. Yeah. And yeah, we're projecting, I think this year was maybe around 14,000, but I think we're going to go for like 30,000 next year. So try to double.
Awesome. That's amazing. All right. When you think of competitors for Cuddle Clones, what comes to mind?
There's 2 things. So one is sort of our direct competition, and there's one main competitor. Their name is Petsies, and the guy who started Petsies started out with a company called Budsies, and they'll take pictures of like a kid's drawing, like an alien or a monster or something, and turn it into a cute little stuffed animal, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
He was on Shark Tank years ago, maybe 2015. But then they started doing the pets as well. And I kind of like to say, we're more of a pet-centric company. So all of our charities go to pet organizations or a pet in need. And, as we build out our product line, it's all about like what pet lovers want versus just sort of focusing on the stuffed animal piece of it. I mean, that's definitely the driver of our business and getting people to our site. But I think that our other competition that we want to look toward is more like these sites like iHeartDogs.com, or there's a couple other ones like popyourpup.com. And iHeartDogs.com is probably the closest one that we strive to kind of be like, because they're a content site mostly, but they've started adding products over the years. And I think they've got, a couple million followers on social media. And so they have a lot of content. They're starting to add products. And we're kind of going the opposite direction of like, okay, we have a bunch of products. Let's start doing some more content and get people, more engaged and maybe more of a community and things like that. So yeah, there's sort of direct competition for our plush product, and then more theoretical competition from like, where is a pet owner going on the internet when they're going to a site to hang out?
Can you talk, and if we get close to anything that you prefer not to share, just say that, no big deal. But can you
I pretty much say anything.
Right on. Love it. Talk a little bit about the process. So like as the consumer, I upload some photos of my dog, right? Mm-hmm. And then you take it from there. Like, how does that turn into a stuffed animal replica of my dog? Talk about like what's happening from a technology perspective. Sure. just take me through it.
Sure. So not only do you upload several pictures, and we do encourage, we need the right side and the left side and the face and the tail, don't just send us the same picture 10 times. You get to choose a bunch of things, like what position you want your cuddle clone to be in, like lying down or sitting, any special characteristics about your pet, like if there's a scar on his belly or, oh, hey, he has 3 legs, things like that. We'll incorporate all of that. So once we have all of that information, our workshop, we basically have a huge library of digital patterns now. So each year we get a little more sophisticated in terms of our operations. Before, over the first couple of years, it was just paper patterns. So we'd literally go to a filing cabinet, pull out a paper pattern of a standing up Chihuahua that we had done before, because we have a new order for a standing Chihuahua, and we'd tweak that pattern, and we'd cut out the material by hand. And now, as we've grown a little bit, the patterns are all on the computer. So if we need to change one, we can pretty easily on the computer. And then we have a laser cutter now. So the computer pattern talks to the laser cutter, and we send the material through, and it cuts it. And it cuts down on, good pun, cuts down on like the dust or the small fibers that are coming off of the material as you're cutting it. Like a laser kind of, doesn't allow for that. Where if you're cutting it by hand, there's a lot more kind of fibers, flowing out into the air. So once it's there, we've got our group of probably the most talented employees that we have are the designers. And so they're the ones really looking at the 2D pictures and figuring out what to tweak and, how to make it really come alive as far as the design. But then we've got the sewing team, and they're so good that they can take a pile of maybe 50 or 60 different cut out plush pieces and just start sewing them together. Like they're not even looking at anything. They just know where they all go. And we have what's called handwork. And the handwork are the folks that are putting the toe creases on the toes or the wrinkles, on a pug's face. And then it's all about stitching and tightening. Yeah, tightening areas. It's really interesting. So then once all that's done, you kind of flip it inside out because all your sewing is done on the inside. And so the pattern is this flat thing that looks nothing like a stuffed animal.
So somebody has sewn enough pug faces that they know how to sew a pug face inside out?
Well, the handwork is done after, I guess it's stuffed. Yeah, let me rephrase that whole piece. So the regular sewing of the pieces all together are before you flip it inside out. Then you flip it inside out and you do the stuffing. And we now have a stuffing machine, whereas we used to stuff it by hand. So, each year we buy a new machine. And once that's all flipped out inside out, then we can do some of the handwork, after the fact. So, but then at that point, it still really doesn't have all of the coloring that the pet has. So that goes from there to our airbrush team. And so we use water-based airbrush paint, and we look at the pictures. And those guys are artists too. They are looking at the pictures and doing the airbrush to kind of match the markings of the pet. And that's specific markings too, like gray on the face or, actual spots or like a Dalmatian, all the spots. And it's really neat. So we have 32 employees there and a couple sort of management folks. And we've got the shipping folks and photography. A lot of photography is done there as well. And it's nice that we actually have 4 married couples that work for us out of the 32. And one interesting point about China for the listeners is, a lot of the workers, they go on Chinese New Year every year. And it's not uncommon for a factory situation to lose 30% of their workforce every year just because they don't come back from Chinese New Year, or they're just migrant and they get another job. They're not really that loyal to the companies they work for, but I'm proud to say that all of our employees have been with us for 3 years. So that's pretty good for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So you get a completely handcrafted replica of your pet. One, because this is the question I was going to ask you before we started recording, because I'm super interested in this. I have a 140-pound Irish Wolfhound.
Yeah.
Are they life size? Can I get a 140-pound size Wolfhound?
No, they're miniature.
Boo.
I know. Well, we used to do life size. For one, they would cost you around $1,000 because the shipping alone is a couple hundred.
That's a week's worth of food for an Irish Wolfhound.
Well, that's true. Yeah, the bigger your dog, the more money you're spending on this dog. The other thing, though, is we were actually kind of bad the bigger the pet would get. they just didn't look right. Like sometimes they were bigger and weird looking. So we stopped doing it, and it's probably best. So the Irish Wolfhound, he's going to probably be about 24 inches big. I mean, they're pretty decent size, but your Chihuahuas and your cats are more life size.
Yeah.
But yeah, your bigger breeds, we kind of cut it off at our large size. But
super interesting. and then I neglected to look this up. What's a price point for this?
Yeah, they're all $249. Okay. They are your fur baby, 100%. They've got the name sewn in on the tag. And what's nice about us, and not necessarily our competition, is that even though it's a custom product, we give 100% return guarantee if you're not satisfied.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it runs around 3% or so, the returns.
And you mentioned charity earlier. Does a portion of that purchase then also go to charity?
Yes. Every purchase. So each month we kind of look at the tally of the amount that we have to spend on charities, and we do like 3 different types. One is a more national organization like ASPCA. Another one is more of a local organization. And we always are asking on social media for people to tell us like, hey, tell us about your charity and maybe we'll donate to it. So, maybe it's the Basset Hound Rescue of Crawford, Nebraska. So we do that. And then our third donation of the month is typically an individual pet in need. Let's like on a crowdfunding campaign, like a GoFundMe or an Indiegogo campaign where, Charlie needs leg surgery, and they're raising some funds for that. So yeah, we kind of go national, local, and individual on our charities. And then as far as the return Cuddle clones, we actually have a partnership with our local police department here, and they take them, like all the officers on routes have them in their trunk to like give them away to kids in like bad situations or, whenever they see the need to give one away. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's really
We did that this year, actually.
So that's new. That's awesome. Wow. Okay. So you obviously have technology in the factory, right, to build the product, and you have very good e-commerce and digital marketing. What other like hidden tech is in this business that's not obvious from the outside? And or are there things that you're contemplating, like seriously contemplating, like what if I could put a chip in the dog that would allow somebody to connect their phone to the dog that if somebody had uploaded photos or videos or, the story, right? So thinking about building community and content, like is there like, what else is there in this business that as you think about it and whether that's today or in the future that starts to layer in some of those elements?
Yeah, I think like just a tech, there's not really a lot of tech that we use. Our site is our store. So, the better we can optimize the site and make it a better user experience, the better it's going to do. But I would say just from a back-end operations perspective, like as we're growing, I come from a math spreadsheet background. So we have a lot of spreadsheets, and we literally were drawing on our whiteboard today about how to develop a more robust order management system that is, sort of beyond the typical CMS of WordPress, which is what our site's built on. And so that's anything from, because if you think about the plush Cuddle clone as one product, and we have one vendor, which happens to be our own employees in China, but all of our different vendors for all of our products, we're constantly communicating with them and changing statuses and reviewing things and going back and forth. And we deal with a lot of pictures. And so it's not just an order management perspective, like, I need to just scan this barcode of this hairbrush and ship it out. Like there's a little bit more complexity there.
Yeah. So that's a great point. If I'm in China and I'm about to airbrush a cat, am I like pulling out my cell phone and flipping through photos?
So they all have iPads.
Okay.
But like our server here, like they connect to our server. And so they can look at the picture. We're trying to get them, it's sort of, they sync once a day right now, but we're trying to get to the point where it's all just sort of live on the site. Whereas like right now we have one master spreadsheet for all orders in China, and they change statuses and it's a drop down. So it's a little bit user proof, if you will, but we'd like to put all that online.
Tell the geek in me that's at least a Google sheet.
No, but we have, we used to have Dropbox, but we now have our own server that's hooked to the cloud.
Oh, yeah.
So, because Dropbox was starting to get a little bit expensive because it's like $150 per employee. So
Well, I haven't looked at that in
you
a
keep
while.
adding up
Yeah,
that.
it's
So
a little
we ended
pricey.
up getting our own server this year. And then we have like a cloud service that allows our server to go out into the world. But yeah, Google Sheets I'm not into because like the Excel functionality is just not the same. But we can get into this argument.
I agree with you. I still have Excel for like pro formas and stuff like that. But if you're really just tracking order, well, I haven't seen your order sheet, so maybe I don't know.
No, it's you have a point. It's not that complex, but we'd like to put it all online to where, and even now, like when somebody, like let's say China starts on a Cuddle clone, so it's been waiting in the queue, and then they get started on it. They'll change the status to started or whatever. We actually then have to go change it in our CMS, and that actually sends an email to the customer, like, "Oh, hey, we've started on Bandit's Cuddle clone. We're excited to get started." Whatever it says. It'd be nice if China could just change that status and it triggers the email. Like, so it's like 2 steps for us right now, where it should be 1. So we were kind of mapping all that out this morning.
Talk through that quick customer experience.
Yeah.
So I submit the order, and then I get obviously based on what you just said, notifications.
Yeah, you get a couple during the process. It's about 6 to 8 weeks in a normal time turnaround. We kind of keep it there because we do allow people to pay extra for 2 or 4 or 6 week guaranteed. 2 is the fastest we can do it. But I think customers too, we do like to spend time on the Cuddle clones. It'd be nice if people could have it same day, but that's just not going to happen.
That's a 3D printed Cuddle clone.
Yeah. And actually our figurines and ornaments are 3D printed in sandstone.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's kind of a neat material.
And is that here or is that?
Well, it's here in the US. Our modelers, we have everywhere in the world. We have like 3 or 4 modelers. And then we print at a company called Shapeways. They've got all their printers up, I think, in Long Island.
Them. Yeah.
So as far as other tech, I think like from like just what we want to do, we have a lot of plans to sort of engage our users more. I mean, we've got all these pet profiles, which is a little bit different than other pet companies, that are more transactional.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Chewy.com is a huge one. I mean, they might know your pet's name and breed, but, we've got all their pictures, we know their nicknames, we know a lot of things about them. And, it'd be nice to kind of communicate back either with, hey, you bought this clone, look at this picture of your pet on all these other products now. Or, just a lot of people are talking about how their pets have passed away and they just want to talk to someone. On Facebook, we can tell too, like when they kind of give a testimonial, and a lot of people will write back to that and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss." We're trying to figure out a good way to kind of let these people communicate with each other, and then also enter contests that we have and things on our site. So no, we're not trying to be like the social media platform of pets, but I think there's a better way to engage people we already have on there.
How many purchases are for the person who's making a purchase versus a gift?
Oh, we had this info. We did like a quick survey. I think it's like 40% are gifts and 60% is the pet has passed away.
Oh.
Yeah. And so then any combination of those 2 things is, it's a big deal. And that's one of the reasons why we started to add some of these other products, like a phone case or a journal, which kind of lends themselves a little bit more to pets that, are currently here with us.
Right.
As opposed to a plush, which is, potentially more of a grieving tool. People can hug it, cuddle with it, and things like that.
I wanted the life-size version so my dog could fight with it.
Well, yeah. So we've gotten some fun videos of people introducing their clones to their pets.
That's cool.
The cats, I think, have the worst issue. Like, I think the cats get real jealous. So they'll crouch down and look at the pet, and eventually they'll kind of either attack it or like swat at it. And so those videos are really fun to get from people.
That's cool. Do you have a feel for how many buyers are repeat buyers? So
I do know,
and that's not just like Cuddle clones, but
it's
other
9% of people have placed more than 1 order with us, and from a and a lot of investors will be like, well, you don't have any recurring revenue. It's like, come on now, we're a consumer product. Like, we're not trying to be a SaaS model for heaven's sakes. But I think 9's pretty good. And I think with a lot of these new products that we're adding, which have a little bit lower price points, it might be easier to either get them in the door to buy a lower one. And then, they kind of become loyal and then buy a Cuddle clone later when they can afford it or when their pet dies, unfortunately. Or the other way around where, they bought a clone. Now we can be like, ooh, we just added journals, things like that. And I think too, it's interesting because we're only 5.5 years old. And so there's these loyal people who've maybe have had one pet pass away and have a Cuddle clone of it, but we haven't necessarily been through an entire life cycle of a pet.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting to know what that long tail is of our business.
You were on it with that was a good one. I love that one. All right. So, right. Because if average lifespan is 10, 15 years, right? Then right. That's a good point.
Will they get another one? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. How, this has nothing to do with business. This is just me, morbid curiosity. How far back has a set of photos gone to like, well, I had this dog 5 years ago. Before you were even a business,
yes.
Can you do that one?
Yeah, it's at least 1970.
1970?
It's a Polaroid. So we have mail-in orders every now and then, and people will literally send us a hard copy Polaroid picture of a pet, and it's terrible resolution. You can hardly see the colors, but we do our best.
But luckily, their memory is also at that same resolution. So you like to think.
Yeah, the longer it goes, they're like, oh, it does look like, it does look like him. So yeah, and then we typically, we mail those pictures back with the Cuddle clone. So, and not everybody who finds out about us can get online and place an order. I mean, that each day becomes less and less of an issue.
What percentage of orders are not online?
Oh, very, very small.
Okay.
Like one order out of 500, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
No. Some interesting reasons why people buy Cuddle clones. Not only their pets have passed away, but I just had a group of high schoolers in here on a field trip, and they're thinking about going off to college, and they all kind of want to bring their family pet with them. So they will probably be begging their parents when they get home for Cuddle clones of their dogs. We've had some military folks go, on deployment, so they'll bring their dog with them. So anywhere, when you can't really be around your pet is good. One of the most interesting stories I ever got from someone as far as why she bought Cuddle clones, she ran up to me at a conference, and I happen to have slippers on. So we make slippers of your pet as well, if you want that. So we have slippers, we have golf club covers, we have purses of your pet, and then the regular plush Cuddle clone. Oh, I'll show you a purse after this. Yeah, we have one out there. So anyway, and so she's like, oh my God, Cuddle clones. So she was adopting a little boy and a little girl, siblings from like Thailand or something. And she had 2 dogs at home, but she was going to visit the children. So she had 2 clones of the dogs made to give to the kids so they could meet the dogs and know them before they actually met the dogs in person. So I was like, that is so cool. Like cool. You can't make up that stuff.
Yeah.
It's
a great story.
Yeah.
How often do you get to tell those stories when you're doing marketing?
Not often as we should or could, I think we have very, very good content, and just the nature of our product, is so ripe for the taking.
It's totally a feel-good product.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not selling, a hairbrush, like I said earlier. It'd be really hard to do that. Like sometimes I'm like, our business is really not that hard. No, but it is challenging because I think our issue is awareness. If you had to ask me what our top thing is that we need to deal with, and it's awareness. I mean, a lot of people don't even know this product exists, let alone that there's a couple companies that do it. I would say out of 100 people, maybe 1 knows what it is. Maybe. Not even. And this might be 100 dog lovers. So we do have plans for 2019. We're actually 5Xing our marketing budget. So starting January 1, put a lot of money into it. Because we actually have pretty good conversion once people know.
What changes? Is that just we're going to do what we're doing today just 5 times more, or are you adding new things?
It's mostly the former. So we haven't even really tapped the like available Facebook market, like as far as the ad population. And that's my co-founder's specialty area is marketing. So he would have a lot more to say about it. Yeah, it's just more of the same. Like we've now proven it. We are doing, I guess you can announce things publicly now, like a little bit of a raise to do some of this growth, like putting fuel on the marketing fire, if you will. So
earlier you mentioned you used to have paper templates. Now they're obviously digital. How often, maybe I'll ask it this way. When's the last time you added a new template? You had to go create a new template because you'd never had either that style of dog or, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it was probably when we made a zebra, like not too long ago.
You made a zebra?
But we probably started with a horse, to be honest, horse template. Yeah, so we do any pet really, but we've done
zebra,
ferrets. Yeah, we did a camel once too. So I don't know if it was their pet. I mean, they could probably just upload pictures of any animal and we'd make it. So we try to steer away from people. We don't do people.
Basically just make my own zoo.
You could.
Is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. We did have a day where we had a bunch that were shipping out and literally it was a farm. So we had a cow and a goat and we're really good at chickens. Like if you go to our gallery, all you listeners, go to the photo gallery on our site.
Going there right now while you're talking.
And filter on chickens. Like they're so cute.
So very little known trivia outside of immediate friends. I have a farm.
Okay.
So I have pigs, sheep, goats, or not goats. Goats might be this year's.
Oh, you should get goats. They are hilarious.
Chickens, turkeys, bees, all that stuff. So
okay. We've never done a bee.
You'd have to blow that one up. How often do you make them bigger? Do you ever make them bigger?
Well, not really. Like even the fish, we've done fish, but we typically keep them smaller. The ferrets are life size, approximately. Yeah, the gallery has all kinds of things.
Who does a fish? So like it fits in your hand? It's like it's just a little...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's surprising. All right. And so fast forward a little bit. So if you look at this market, let's go 10 years out, which is probably far enough that it's total fuzzy, right?
Yeah.
So go 10 years out. Is this a market where you now have a ton more competitors because it's gotten easier to manufacture these? Is it a market where new technology has changed the way you even think about this business? And now you're trying to find a way to tie, I'll make crap up, but augmented reality or something like that into the product. Like I'd love your thoughts on what you think the future of this market looks like.
I think that the plush product itself is pretty tough to get into, but I think that we'll probably have a few more competitors try to do it. One thing is that it's not fully disruptable, if that's a word, meaning like if you want to hug something that feels like your pet, there's not some technology that might come out that would allow you to do that. Maybe virtual reality. Like I did have an idea of like, if everybody could start taking videos of their pet right now, that, later we could create a virtual reality game or of sorts where you get to play with your pet still, but you'd have to kind of gather all that data now. So like, the movements of your pet, like my little dog, she's like a Chihuahua mix. She does this thing called prairie dog, where she'll get up on her haunches. And it's mostly when I'm working on my computer and I'll see her out of the corner of my eye and she'll just do it and stare at me. And I'll be like, hey, Izzy. So she wants attention. But, if I don't kind of gather that now, like I wouldn't be able to kind of put it into some kind of thing in the future. But anyway, as far as the competition in the market for some of these other products, there's a lot now. Like you can put your sort of an illustration of your pet on a coffee mug 50 different ways. But I think it's going to be more of a community. I think that like our vision, so Chewy.com, I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Anecdotally, they've had a lot of good case studies done in podcasts and stuff like
Sure.
that. Yeah.
So, they went from 0 to 900 million in like 3 or 4 years, got sold to PetSmart for $3 billion.
You should do that. That sounds good.
Well, so my little saying of my vision is so Chewy.com is everything for your pet. I want Cuddle clones to be everything of your pet. So, if you want, like, we're going to continue to add products throughout the years, not only sort of low tier, mugs and things, which we are doing, but sort of more curated, really neat ideas, so we have a sort of open product idea spreadsheet that all of our people contribute to. And we came up with a really cool one the other day, which was like sort of a pseudo whiteboard with your pet on it, but like cut out. So it was kind of cool. Anyway, so we're always looking.
Wait, you can move off of that real quick.
Yeah.
Do you have a structured way to have that conversation with your employees to get people to generate ideas? Or is it just, it's out there and it's open and people can drop stuff in when they want to?
The latter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's whenever you run across something in the world, you're like, ooh, that'd be cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's even normally, I'm like, ooh, how do we apply this cool product to pets? It doesn't even have to be something they found that has to do with pets. But
yeah. Okay. Sorry. Didn't mean to.
Yeah. No. So, I mean, I think that there'll be more companies for sure. But I think it's kind of out there for the taking of which company is going to take the market in terms of, oh, that's where you go if you want cool stuff of your pet.
It's the default. That's the place to be.
Yeah.
If people would like a Cuddle clone, where do they go? And if they want to get in touch with you personally to ask you questions or to follow up on anything you've talked about, where can they do that?
Sure. To get one, visit cuddleclones.com or just Google stuffed animal of my pet and we should be up there on the SEO results.
Nice.
And then me, I'm Jennifer.Williams at cuddleclones.com.
All right. And I totally head faked because I have one more question that I thought of earlier and then I forgot. So one of the things I was thinking about, like, is there a way for you to, from a marketing perspective, like, can you proactively scan someone's like Instagram account and identify photos of a pet? And then once they've posted enough photos of their pet, which I would imagine for many people is not that hard, that where you could reach out to them proactively on that platform and say like, hey, we already have enough composite, like just click here to buy. We have everything we need to basically form a. I
love that idea. Yeah. I mean, I think that there's probably a way to do that, whether we're kind of looking at off the shelf stuff to, grab all of that data versus pushing it back out to them. I don't know if it's through Instagram. Like,
yeah, forget.
I don't know how, like the details about it, right?
Copyright and scanning. Forget that for a second.
But no, I like that idea. One cool thing we do too is these Facebook lookalike populations. So we'll take all the email addresses, say, of everybody who bought a golf club cover, and then you give Facebook all those. And if it matches to a Facebook profile, and you say do a lookalike population, it will do a population of everybody, all those people's characteristics.
Okay. Yeah.
And then send them the ads for the golf club covers.
Nice.
Yeah. Now they don't give you any of that back, really.
They don't tell you what the population is?
No.
Yeah. All right.
No,
but
they
that's
do
still
not.
Pretty cool. I've got to up my Facebook marketing game. I don't know that stuff that well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. Sorry, I had to ask that at the end. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, it was fun.
If you're thinking of launching a SaaS product, Startup Competitors can provide data on your closest competitors, survey potential users, or provide other product validation services. Learn more at startupcompetitors.com.